if I was Prime Minister.
That now go happen. That will never happen. You will never live to see that happen.
Me could not family. Mamai me could know. Tune in to GVD TV 115 and Facebook Live this and every Tuesday for Let's Talk with Auntie Gail, where we will discuss what is happening in our constituency and the progress we have made so far. Anu pale epi Auntie Gail, Tule Madi asu GVD TV channel yon se. Me could not, we've got this. Let's talk. Nous tout, c'est your famille, and me could know.
Hello, welcome to the program Champagne in the Morning with yours truly, your favorite guy, Champagne. Join me here every morning from 8 a.m. until 12 noon. We're also live on GVD channel 115 and live stream on the internet. Join me as we discuss all of the current events of our beautiful country and around the world. You too could get into the program by calling in 456-0931 or 485-0931. Thank you for tuning in. Join me 8 a.m. to 12 noon. Back with our two honorable statesmen in the persons of Sir Michael Shastney and the Honorable Mr. Peter Josie. Sir Michael, good morning to you, sir. With you and Mr. Peter Josie. Yeah. I'm trying to stay in touch on par.
Thank you, sir.
Now, I'm happy that you brought me the Voice newspaper, and we always have the headlines, and we always read it out to our St. so they could get a copy. It says that police launch investigations into SDA church disturbance involving political rivals. The heading is very welcoming, Sir Michael, but has there ever been a rival between Mr. Joachim Henry and Guy Joseph? Has there been a rival? Is it a rivalry?
I can only assume that in St. Lucia we take politics so seriously that subconsciously there must have been some rivalry, but I've never heard it, I've never seen it displayed before until what has happened to the church.
Yeah, because before what has happened in the church, you have never heard of any rivalry.
For that matter, if you have 17 constituencies in St. Lucia, you have 17 rivalries going on, if you want to look at it that way. There's an understanding that people want to get to the top, and there will be a form of rivalry, but I didn't think it would have gone that far. But in the case of Mr. Henry, I really think it's a number of issues that precipitated this behavior, which I don't want to
we don't want to dwell too much
again, because enough has been said.
Yeah.
But it's very sad, and let's hope that some sort of a normalcy can be returned to. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know, while we're on the subject, I wanted
to ask Brother Josie if you would classify what happened as a rivalry between the two gentlemen. Before I go to you, would you classify it as, or it has always been a rivalry in politics?
I think a line has to be drawn somewhere, and I was very happy when Rick last Thursday referred to George Odlum's statements in the Crusader. After the incident in the cathedral, the Catholic cathedral, you remember that incident?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
I went to Trinidad towards the middle of February, towards the end of January to the middle of February Carnival. And a friend of mine took me to Shaguanas to a barber shop. And he obviously knew the barber, there were two of them, and he introduced me as his friend from St. Lucia.
Yeah.
When the elder one of the two barbers heard that I was from St. Lucia, they said, "Boy, you from St. Lucia?" I said, "Yes." He said, "But all you calling Trinidadians bad? Trinidadians are bad. You guys are bad. You all you entering church and killing people and burning people in church, and all you want to call us Trinidadians bad?" It was so embarrassing. I had to tell him, "Listen, this is not normal behavior from normal St. Lucians." These guys were all cracked up, and I'm sure you can understand that, because Trinidad has the same kind of people. He said, "But still, we are going in church and burn anybody. We respect church." I said, "God, who asked me to get into that barber shop?" And it was that bad, and I've never forgotten that experience.
Yes.
Trinidadians are saying, "You're all calling us bad, and you St. Lucians going in church and burn and murder people." I've never forgotten that. So that is why, that is all the statement I'm prepared to make.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah, I was saying before, I was In the last hour or so, I've got some very good news about St. Lucia.
Yeah.
I've got 3 phone calls this morning and last night. There appears to be a change of heart in St. Lucia as far as the vaccination is concerned.
Oh, wow.
Now, I'm going to give you a little credit for it, but I'm only saying so.
Yes.
But we have been pounding away the importance of it.
Oh, yes.
Just to fill you in, yesterday, some people went to the Darren side, and you know what somebody said? They thought it was a cricket matchup.
Oh, yeah, someone.
Did you hear that?
Someone told me that.
Now,
someone said that to me, yes, you're right.
The same thing today, and a friend just called me who had to do something for me, and he said to me, look, I'm going to be a bit late because I have to go to the...
Yeah, the VG Sports Complex. The sports complex, yes.
He said he woke up at 7 o'clock this morning to get a number.
Yeah.
And at 7 o'clock, his number was 750.
750? At 7 o'clock?
At 7 o'clock. So he said you can imagine.
That is people waiting for the vaccine.
Yes,
so something has gone, something has taken place in St. Lucia.
Yes.
And because...
You think we could give ourselves the bell? You think we could give ourselves the bell for that?
In my preamble today, these are one of the areas I intended to focus on because I was talking to a top hotelier in the Sufra area.
Yeah.
And the lady indicated to me her concerns because out of 500 employees she had, only about 70 had got vaccinated. And she has been pleading with them. And I made a comparison today in my preamble that why is it that local workers or workers at local hotels are shying away from the vaccine when the 1,000 individuals who have been earmarked to go on the cruise ship have been vaccinating quite freely.
Yeah.
In other words, they know that they cannot go on board without it.
Without it, yeah.
But because they're in St. Lucia, but they have to understand that yesterday, and I also brought it up on my preamble, the Minister of Tourism in Jamaica is extremely unhappy with the situation because he got a letter from the British authorities stating that Jamaica will be on the amber list, meaning level 4.
That's
okay?
Right.
Now, I think Jamaica, like all the islands, made some mistakes, and the virus was quite high. However, he indicated that one of the reasons why it took place was the fact that the vaccines were very late in coming to Jamaica. Okay, but right now the countries who provide us with the tourists, they're not interested in that champagne.
No.
Get your house in order.
Get your house in order. That's what they told Kenny in
regards to his money. Get your financial house in order.
That's right.
Get your medical house in order.
That's what
they're telling you.
That's what they say.
And they don't care. That's your responsibility, not their responsibility.
Yeah.
So I hope St. Lucians are listening carefully to what we're saying, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed that what I've seen and heard this morning, there appears to be a change of heart in St. Lucia.
There definitely
but
is.
I will investigate it more so we can highlight it.
Yeah. So on Friday, last Friday, I went to the Darren Sammy Cricket Stadium.
Yes.
At 5 o'clock, no, at 4:15.
In the afternoon.
In the afternoon.
Oh.
And there were at least 100 people before me.
Yeah.
So that just shows you the amount of people that were there.
When did you go
That
there?
was last Friday.
When I was there last Friday, what
You
time?
were there, I went at about 4:15 in the afternoon. What time were you there?
I went there at 2.
Oh no, that's way after me. I came way after you. I'd left.
Yeah, but I never left till 4.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was there. On the line. I didn't see you though.
Yes.
But there were a lot of people there.
A lot of people.
Yeah, there were a lot of people.
And yesterday was 3 times as much.
Yeah. Mr. Peter, with all of the information that the government have put out in regards to the COVID-19 and the vaccination, we are only 24,000, and I don't know if it's fully vaccinated, but the numbers are 24,000 St. Lucians have accepted the vaccines. What do you think is the cause of that? You think people have been given the wrong message?
I think people have different ways of making up their minds. I think a lot of people have had their minds instead of their bodies poisoned. And people listen to false information. They listen to the nonsense that goes on the internet, even by St. Lucians and some foreigners.
Yeah.
I am ashamed to say that I have a son in New York, a very bright guy. He's been to Hunter College and all different places. And he actually works at a hospital. And it looks like he is reluctant to take the vaccine. So he's kind of playing with me.
Yeah.
When I say playing around, trying to tease my mind.
Yeah.
And I said to him, listen, I have never, from the time you were about 18 or so, tried to tell you what to do. I said, if you want to know what to do, look at my history. Ask me what I would have done in that situation if you really want to follow me. So I said, I can't advise you. You are living in one of the most developed countries in the world. You have a good salary, a good job at a hospital. It's all in your hands, and you have 3 kids to take care of.
Yeah.
So this is not about me. And I'll tell you, in the case of St. Lucia, I actually feel very sorry for our people. I started by telling you that because they have been misled by politicians. You see this virus, Champagne, from the time it was declared internationally, because I always follow international news, because sooner or later it's one world, one small global village.
So Michael does it a lot, I know that.
And guess what? From the time it broke out, I said, boy, that is going to reach St. Lucia.
You did say
and
that.
And how the opposition reacts with the government will decide how well we do. Unfortunately, Philip here, I stopped calling him my friend. That's a person I've known ages ago. His father, his elder brother, I've said so a million times.
Yeah, you have.
I am not referring to Philip as a friend. I'm just going to refer to him as the MP for Castries East.
There's a reason for that, though. You care to share it with us?
The reason is he has so disappointed me in the handling of the COVID-19 compared to his representative for Denry North. This guy behaved like a perfect gentleman. And I even said on one of those shows here that perhaps Edward should be the one leading the St. Lucia Labour Party in the next elections. But who am I? Who am I? But when Philip here started attacking the Prime Minister, Mr. Alan Shasley, for not being in Barbados, for asking for a drink.
You heard that nonsense?
What drink did he...
Every time I listen to that,
you know how many times I've been with Alan Shasley at his hotel, which he shares with his father and things so, and that doesn't come up. Alan will quicker offer me a dinner, a lunch, or something. And if I want to poison myself in drinks, I will have to pay for it myself. I don't know if he has changed since he became Prime Minister, but once I heard the reaction of the Labour Party to the COVID-19 vis-a-vis what the government was saying, I said, boy, St. Lucia is in deep doo-doo, because we have to learn to live with the virus. That is the secret.
You know, I'll tell you something.
That's right.
As you guys on the subject of characters, I had already done my preamble, but this morning I woke up quite early and refreshing my memory of what I heard yesterday. I would like to make that just a little discussion before the preamble.
Of course.
Okay with you.
Of
Okay.
course.
Let me say something to you. The opposition leader keeps harping on youth economy with no definitive plans in place to justify his imagination. But what we have clearly heard from the leader is frightening, as his government, if elected, plans to close down Ojo Labs and Intel IBO, call centers comprising of 4,000 young, and I repeat, young persons with a monthly revenue of $4.5 million. The very youth he talks about helping, his plans and action seem out of sync, clearly articulating his confusing behavior. Okay? Now, as far as Philip here is concerned, the MP for Castries South keeps highlighting over and over the importance of the bar and restaurant owners of the small man who cannot make ends meet based on a 9 p.m. curfew, despite the fact that these individuals can operate from 4 a.m. till 9 p.m. daily. On the other hand, government has concentrated, that's the difference between his vision and the government's vision. On the other hand, government has concentrated on a bigger picture by ensuring that the main hotel sector, capable of employing 15,000 persons, should return on stream as quickly as possible. Based on this format, 9,000 employees are already back on the job. These individuals are actually the patrons for the small bars and restaurant owners. This comparison simply highlights the myopic thinking of the MP for Castries South, yet he highlights himself as one with a vision to run the country. His myopic vision does not permit him to understand the dangers of the pandemic when he wishes for political mileage to use the small man as a stepping stone for his personal achievements. Has the MP ever given thought to the hundreds of vendors and taxi operators who have been unable to earn a living for the past 15 months?
Yeah.
He's concentrating on the bars and the restaurants in his area, who are open all day.
All day.
At least they're making a living.
They're making
because
something.
the whole world is involved with a pandemic that's affecting everybody.
Yes, sir.
But he's not seeing it. And this is the sad part about the whole situation. Now, we here have highlighted over and over that what the Prime Minister is doing is in fact the correct approach. St. Lucia, in comparison to many other countries, is a dream. Because why? Business is moving on
all the time.
From 4 a.m. till 9 p.m. like nothing happened.
That's 17 hours.
And all we're asking you is, because of the tendency to people after 9 p.m. to be lackadaisical and do foolishness, this is where the problem comes.
17 hours a day.
You know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Now, what they don't understand is that not because we're in a fairly stable position today, we must take advantage of it. Why? Because we saw what happened at Christmas. When you drop your guard down, your hospitals are going to be filled. There's going to be a serious cost to government.
Yes.
Now, I just want St. Lucia to know something that happened last night in London. Last night, okay? 2 members of the Indian delegation to G7 summit in London tested positive.
Yes,
when they should have had what you call a Zoom meeting. Why they changed it, nobody knows. The whole group are now believed to have gone into self-isolation as a precaution. So you see that now. Fears have been mounting over the spread of Indian variants of the disease. Foreign ministers meant to show the full G7 can happen safely next month. You see, it is still too early to be carefree. We have to understand, let us take it slowly.
Yeah.
When you find a comfort zone that's working, keep that comfort zone going.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Look at, for instance, I called you over the weekend, Champagne.
Yeah.
Based on the figures you gave me, for the 3 days, 2,700 passengers came in and 2,200 departed. Okay? Champagne, you work at the airport.
Yeah.
I don't say that you made any big money,
no.
but I'm sure
you
it has been a little bit better than normal.
Oh yeah.
Right?
You could buy something.
Look, you saw the number of taxis, the coaches, okay? The hotels. Sandals is now running at 90%, I understand.
Yeah.
Now, which means that at 90%, probably will want all the employees back. Now, when that is done, these people can in turn feed their families. But not only that, they have to go up and down. So they're getting a bit of money in their pockets. They can start spending a little bit, which finds itself into the economy.
That's right.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is no point being greedy. Let us go step by step. And this is what the Labour Party is not understanding, or is not understanding that we are not out of the woods.
We will not be out for a little while.
Correct. It will drag for another 2 years, but you know, if we can go on slowly and slowly, Christmas has come around. Let me tell you, we are already in May, Champagne.
Oh yeah.
We're already in May.
Yeah.
The winter season is coming on again. People who want to travel, they're desperate to travel. So let us not damage our economy. Let us get ready. Let us be prepared. Let us be sensible.
Yeah.
And that is what it's all about.
Yeah, I agree. But Peter, what is the purpose? Before you, I want to ask you something. And we know the Labour Party and the way they operate, but there must be a reason. There must be a purpose for them to continue to bring out misinformation to the people. In regards to the coronavirus, COVID-19, we have seen what it has done to the entire world. But what is these guys' purpose for disseminating bad information to the public?
But Guy Joseph said it to you in relation to the member for Castries South. It's all politics, Champagne. But in my time, we didn't call that politics. We call it politricks.
Yeah.
That's politricks. And guess what? I can say, looking at it from a scientific point of view, okay? I'm no scientist, but I understand the process of science sufficiently to tell you that I am confident that after the spike in October of last year,
Yeah.
which was caused by the Labour Party calling this grand march and rally,
Yes.
the Labour Party got the message. They knew from that time that they had done a pappy show of messed up stupidness with themselves and with the supporters.
Yeah.
They knew they had done that.
Yeah.
But you know what? It takes a man and a woman to do nonsense in public and to own up, Champagne. This is not easier. Some people just cannot apologize. They cannot come and say, something?
It has become an egoistic thing for them.
Yeah, because their ego is all they have.
Yeah.
They have nothing inside of them. The old people in my grandmother's time used to say, Andida, yo quez, konze kal kwab. You understand what I'm saying?
But did they learn anything, Brother Peter? Because we saw 2 weeks ago there was a huge motorcade with one of their candidates coming back home.
Yeah, but they made it look like, okay, you, Miku, you're on your own. This thing, you're on your own. That way, you're on your own. It's not the Labour Party as such. That is how they intended to play it.
Well, 2 members of the hierarchy was involved. Huh?
But I'll tell you something. The people of St. Lucia are watching. The last elections in 2016 is probably the first elections since the 1970s or even late 60s that I, Peter Josie, did not vote in a general elections in St. Lucia. And the reason, I was out of state. But I told my friends and family, I expect the UWP to give the Labour Party a set of blows.
Yeah.
When it came to pass, they said, but Peter, how did you know? I said, look, I live politics.
Yes.
Remember once I tell you, don't worry how many red shirts you see on the streets.
Yes, you said that.
Count how many are not in red. If you want to be smart and clever.
Yes.
Don't say, oh, monsieur, Michimiz rouge, bon, tiens, les pas.
Mais l'année plus moun qui pas ni chemise rouge.
Bagasa, loga de on. Ou ka, ni plus moun qui pas ni chemise rouge. So, I give you that lesson.
Yes.
And your listeners, free of charge.
I agree. So, Michael, you finished?
Yeah, I'm finished.
I wanted to go back with the vaccine. You think persons were waiting to see how that thing played out in the public before they went to get their shot themselves, or you think people are just not going to get it?
Champagne, I spoke to my daughter this morning. I was at the phone to England.
Yeah.
And she asked the same question.
Okay.
And one of the answers I gave is that, people always believe they're smarter than everybody else. Many St. Lucians have been listening to the US and they talk of herd immunity. And it is said that if 70% of the nation can enjoy the herd immunity, the 30%. So 30% of the St. Lucians are riding on our backs.
Okay.
So they figure, well, they didn't have to take it.
Yes.
They don't want to take any chances, and they go. That's one, okay? The second answer is that I think the fear of God has been put in them by some people, for whatever reasons. There can be blood clots, there can be side effects, there can be a foreign matter in your body.
Yes.
But they don't understand vaccines are something that takes place for years. People get vaccinated against smallpox, against
I got some
all the different mumps. Years and years that's been going on.
Yes.
So what's the big deal?
Yes.
I mean, statistically, just look at America today. The hospitals in Florida are virtually empty. Same thing in London. Why?
Yeah, because of the vaccine.
Is it because we waved the magic wand? They did something right.
Something was done.
Something was done.
Yeah.
So, I think Champagne is a matter of getting it across to the people. But if my information, which I gave you this morning, is correct, there is definitely a change of heart.
Yes.
They are coming out in the hundreds.
Yes. And that is good news.
Good for them.
That is really, really
good for them. Give them the bell, Champagne.
We have to give them the bell on that.
I think I heard the Prime Minister last night highlighting the fact how difficult it has been to get more vaccines. Okay.
Yeah.
But I suppose some government officials could be listening to our show today. And what I would say to them, I'm only as a small man
citizen,
thinking that Mr. Biden said that they have an oversupply of vaccinations in the UK. And they had bought
in the UK?
In the US, sorry. Yeah. And they had purchased several million vaccines from the British, the AstraZeneca vaccination.
Yes.
But Americans have 3 of their own. They have Johnson & Johnson, they have the Pfizer,
and the Moderna.
And they have the Moderna.
Yeah.
Okay? So they are inclined to take the vaccine of their own. So, and if it's not done, it's going to spoil. So I think these islands, or the people helping us, need to get together, COVAX especially, they have the power, to focus on that and try to get those vaccines before they spoil. Why let them spoil?
What's the lifespan on them, you know?
Sorry?
What's the lifespan on the vaccine, do you know?
I'm not quite sure.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure.
Okay.
But be it what it may,
they should not go spoil.
Why let it go to waste?
Exactly.
It can be
should
used,
not have that done. Anyway, let's go to another topic because, you know, we watch the international news and every time I see the President of the United States, Mr. Biden, talk about construction, infrastructure, I just reflect right on our Prime Minister. Because our Prime Minister maintained that he wanted to keep St. Lucia open, and the way he did that was in the construction department. And the United States have now got about $3 trillion, and they are putting all of that into infrastructure, fixing bridges, redoing roads, doing all kinds of stuff. And our Prime Minister
did that a year and a half ago.
A year and a half ago, before the mighty America.
Yep.
What does that say to you, Sir Michael?
Correct. Well, the guy is thinking. Yeah. You know, I'll tell you something, Champagne. I'm just making an assumption now.
Yeah.
There are certain people who go into politics for the power and the prestige.
And the prestige. Oh, let me ring the bell on that. I keep saying that all the time.
I don't think that's the case of the current
No, that's not
Prime Minister.
the Prime Minister is not about that.
The current Prime Minister had his life.
Yes.
I don't say he had the best life in the world.
But he had some
comfortable life.
He had some prestigious moments.
And he had opportunity. I can tell you for a fact, I'm not going to mention names, but one of the guys who went up against him when they were trying to get the leadership party.
The leadership.
Gave him the opportunity to have a tremendous job in Brussels at $400,000 a year.
Really?
Tax free. Yeah.
Wow.
He could have gone there. And you know what the
$400,000 a year is a lot of money.
Tax free.
That is a lot of money.
Yeah. And living in a civilized country.
Yes.
You know what his answer to me was? He said, look, I'm not going to go and sit at a desk in Brussels. When I have a country, I can make a meaningful contribution.
I agree with that.
Okay? And what is the salary here for a Prime Minister? 12 times, maybe 150,000 EC dollars a year.
Is it 12,000 a month?
Yeah, something like that.
Wow.
Okay, divide that by 3. That's 60, 70,000 US dollars a year, and you have to pay taxes on it.
On it, yes.
When you could have got 400,000 US dollars.
Yeah.
So he's not in it for
not about the money.
And more, Brussels is a part of Europe where they make all the decisions. Can you imagine that how much, if he wanted, looking for fame, he could be there.
Yeah.
But you see, Philip only has one passport, so he couldn't go there.
He couldn't get that. He couldn't get that job.
Yeah.
Philip wouldn't be able to get that job.
You know, so that is the difference between people.
Yeah.
And I told you before, anything you do in life, there has to be commitment and love.
Yes.
No commitment and love, I'm telling you, Champagne, that's 70% of your success is down the drain.
I agree. I agree. But Peter, had it not been for the implementation of the construction department to the uplifting of it during the coronavirus, where do you think we would be economically today? Had the Prime Minister not injected some money into the construction department?
I think that question can be addressed to the average St. Lucian on the roadside.
Yeah.
You know I live in the north. Almost every other morning I'm by Marcy in the north. So the workers are right next to me.
Right there, yeah.
I was there a couple of days ago and it was raining at around midday. And all of them lined up in front of the Marcy uphill, you know.
Yeah.
They line up sheltering. And that's an opportunity. And you know me and my personality, but everybody will know the answer that they will give me. If you had a choice to leave that work now and go to your home and rest and wait for the government to give you a handout at the end of the fortnight, what would you do? I will not insult these people, Champagne, and ask them that question. I will not insult any 14 or 15-year-old with that question. I know the answer that they would give me.
Yeah.
And in fact, if I ask an adult male with a wife and children that question and he curses me, I would have to just take my curse,
you would understand,
turn my back and go.
Yeah.
But that is one of the best things this Prime Minister has done for St. Lucia during COVID.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you more, Champagne. We can pray as a people, okay, that we are not governed by people who have no vision and who do something differently. I'm serious, you know. I've watched these guys operate from 1997, and I warned my View Forward people against them. I warned them, you know, and it's all come to pass. These guys have no vision. More than that, they have no idea on how to manage a little cabaret with some sugar on the side. No idea.
You know, I sat there and I watched the guys. I don't get involved with the Labour Party's affairs, but I make sure I watch every house sitting. I want to hear their contributions. And I would have still expected yesterday from 2011, when they were in power, at least one of them would come out and say to the St. Lucian people, okay, here's my achievements from 2011 up to 2016, and show some highlights, a photograph of what they did. I still didn't see that. Is that a fact? Is this because these guys have no vision in preparation? They don't prepare anything. They just talk a lot.
But Guy Joseph and Rick Wayne and company keep saying that the answer to the Labour Party is that let's not look back. In other words, we have made too many stupid mistakes.
Okay.
You remember at one time there was some murder in the Marquis River, a very low-lying area where people used to go there, Babuno Marquis, and wash their vehicles.
Okay.
2 guys murdered a young pregnant woman.
Oh, I remember that. That's
and
a while.
They put stones on her body.
That's a while, yeah.
In a slightly deeper area. I used to work in the Marquis area, so I know people there, older folks. The 2 guys were saying to the people when they started walking towards the deeper end, parlez là, nous regardez là. Don't walk up there.
Yeah.
We have already searched up there, so don't go there.
Yeah.
Okay? And obviously,
they know why.
A 6-year-old or 5-year-old child will know why they do not want the people searching to go there.
Up there, yes. Yes.
But that's what it is with the Labour Party today, Champagne. Let's not fool ourselves. We are not children.
Yeah.
We are not children. Don't go back. If you go back, you'll find all the nastiness.
So, Michael, do you ever, I know you watch the house sittings a lot, do you always ever have an expectation of something tangible coming out of the Labour Party? So you sit there and you say, okay, today is the day where I'm going to hear something that makes a lot of sense. Have you ever had that kind of expectation?
I would love to have thought so, but regrettably, every meeting they've had, they've only come with criticism and nonsense.
All the time.
I mean, I listened to, for instance, to Hill yesterday.
Yeah.
And every statement he made was a critical statement, a personal critical statement towards the Prime Minister.
Everyone.
I mean, who the hell is interested in the Prime Minister playing golf?
I mean, tell me about it.
You're talking about a meeting, okay?
Yeah.
And then talking about a dance.
Yes.
And a trip to Barbados.
Yes.
The Prime Minister wasn't born yesterday. He went to Barbados.
He had been to Barbados
I'm sure he
several
had
times.
probably discussed it with the CMO before he went, how he would do it, and to get their permission.
That's right.
But you know, that is, to answer your question, that is the problem today, Champagne. The hatred is so embedded in their bodies and their minds, they cannot see anything else.
Yes.
I mean, last night, for instance, Bowtie was showing Philip Pierre. A couple of years ago to date, same old story. And you said it.
Yeah.
You said it before. You said, I can tell you, all you're going to see is the same rehashed nonsense.
Yes.
They're making no contribution at all. Their biggest aim is they're going to get into power.
Yes.
But I laughed so much last night when Hilaire said to Guy Joseph or somebody whispered there, you all are having what you call the curfew to give you an advantage. Guy said, we already have the advantage because you all did nothing and we did something. We're already ahead of you.
He's right on that.
But
he's right.
As you all said a while ago, when it comes to responding, Guy has all the answers at the tip of his finger. You know?
This is why they're after him.
They have to destroy this guy.
This is why they're after him.
They're after the man, you know. But
and Peter said something this morning before you came, when Peter said he was labeled as the black sheep.
Yeah.
But the reason for that is if you're outspoken among the group, you're the one that's going to be targeted.
Yeah.
Always. And this is why Guy Joseph is always targeted, because most of the time the other ministers, you hear them in the House of Parliament, you hear them at conferences, but you don't hear them in the public in that regard, making statements defending his government and the Prime Minister and putting blows on the opposition.
Yeah,
so this is why they have to.
The time goes on quite quickly, Champagne. And I want to say something now. I want to read my preamble.
Oh, go ahead.
It won't be very long. But my preamble today is focused on the social media because it's getting worse.
Oh, yeah.
And it's unacceptable.
Okay, go ahead.
The heading of my preamble today is the distasteful aspects of social media.
The distasteful?
The distasteful aspects of social media.
All right.
Yeah. Political operatives and party members who believe in propagating false information will one day pay a high price for this deception. We simply have to revisit the United States, which all of us depend upon in so many ways, allowing the nation to be led astray by lies and deception from a concentrated number of deceitful party supporters controlled by one man. Does that ring a bell? Okay.
Yeah.
A nation not abiding by laws, discipline, and honesty will someday find itself in the pits. Governments are chosen for a particular reason, and that is, amongst many reasons, to keep the nation safe and dignified. The duty of our parents and teachers is to guide us in our formative years to follow the basic principles of life. Therefore, any individual, politician, parent, teacher, police officer, or anyone authorized to guide us and who decides to ignore this responsibility is certainly not on the right side of history. We have made this issue our preamble today based on the deception within our social media, which has become far too reckless. The situation has gone from bad to worse in the last several months, which is extremely distasteful. The most worrisome topic at the moment is the level of misconception pertaining to the importance of the AstraZeneca vaccine and the accompanying protocols which need to be followed to ensure the safety of all St. Lucians in achieving the herd immunity. Now, this preamble was written yesterday, prepared by me, but when I came in this morning, I'm very pleased to learn that St. Lucians appear to have a change of heart because they are coming out in the thousands for the vaccine.
That is right.
And later today, I will try to make some discreet inquiries. Why? Politicians dispelling contrary information for political mileage is dangerous, as in the long run, all of us will pay a hefty price. Jamaican Tourism Minister, Mr. Bartlett, has recently discovered the hard facts of reality based on the decision by the UK government to place most of the Caribbean nations on an amber list, which indirectly affects our economic recovery. This decision has been taken from a speck of perception based on the fact that the vaccine shipment to Jamaica was unduly delayed. But on the other hand, Jamaica, like many nations, failed to adhere to the initial protocols. Here in St. Lucia, we have had the liberty to view the trend of the pandemic since March 2020 till to date. Yet, some persons go on social media spreading false information regarding the reality of the pandemic. St. Lucia remains in an enviable position today as the nation's economy continues to perform satisfactorily with a 9 p.m. to 4 a.m. curfew. Government needs to retain the existing curfew times as long as it takes to keep the COVID cases at bay. No amount of pressure from the opposition to call a general election in the midst of a sensitive period should be pursued simply to suit the political ambitions of the minority members of Parliament. In addition to all these exercises, government has to manage the economy in order that the ordinary man can survive. Tourism is and remains our mainstay, and today our staunch providers are sending loud and clear signals requiring proof that our frontline workers are vaccinated to ensure that their citizens are not reinfected while visiting our shores. On the other hand, individuals within our ranks have a difficulty with that request, while the vaccine also protects us as a people. But above all, our parents and grandparents who have provided for us for years remain vulnerable. How callous can we be to those relatives now in the twilight of their years and too feeble to deal with this outrageous pandemic? Do we have a conscience? If not, revisit the 85 deaths so far, or 75, I'm not quite sure, and come to your own conclusion why your family members have passed, even before they should have. Kindly revisit the video on your television screen showing the pain in India that currently loses 3,000 lives each day. While I'm talking, I want to send a message to my technician to please put on the screen for me the script that I got from India of the suffering going on.
All right. Camera crew, we would like to get the script from India on the screen, please.
Yeah, if you can put it up for me, please.
314,000 new infections in a single day.
Let's all view it together. I need the public to revisit what is going on. Look at the pain. Look at that. That's taking place in India. I purposely to give St. Lucians a reminder of what can happen when that vaccination is not taken. India was producing all those vaccinations and we're well on the way. And what happened? They had an election of some sort, and this is what has been taking place today. 3,000 deaths a day. St. Lucians. The evidence is there. The evidence is there. Please, watch what's going on carefully. Listen to everything. I beg you.
Yeah.
The 1,000 St. Lucians who have now signed up to return to the cruise ships are more than willing to be vaccinated. So what is the difference between a cruise line employee and a hotel staff employee?
Right, that's true.
Not complying today will result in our demise tomorrow. This administration has created a sensitive balancing act, which is nothing short of remarkable in keeping the tourism product alive. Between Friday and Saturday past, Honora Airport was abuzz with the arrival of 2,700 visitors and 2,200 departures. Hotel owners and their staff, taxi operators, and SLASPA collected thousands of dollars in revenue as a result of this impact. Please think, and think. The opposition are willing to undermine the economy to win an election, yet they talk about putting people first. Elections are around the corner, and most of us who wish to be honest with ourselves simply have to compare St. Lucia today with Trinidad, Jamaica, and the consequences in India. Trinidad has been locked down for 14 months, Canada for 6 months, and Little St. Lucia performs normally except for a 9 p.m. to 4 a.m. curfew. The old saying, think with our heads and not our hearts, remains rock solid. And don't forget that if is a word that stands in the way, and were it not for if, we would be happy today. The SLP remains a party of destruction. Just listen to the former PM's speech and reflect on the consequences of Plywood City and consider the decisions taken are not reminiscent of those times, where a number of business houses in the city were brought to their knees, some never reopened.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. And to you, Mr. Peter, you have a preamble, I guess.
Yes, I have written something I indicated to you before.
Yes, that's right.
So I will try to do justice to what I wrote, okay?
Yes, sir.
And the heading is My Love Affair with an Orange. That is the orange fruit,
The
not
fruit,
the color.
not the color, yes.
This is not about the botany of the orange or its flower. Neither is it about the physiology of the orange plant. It's much more than about mathematics, about history, and about human psychology using the orange as metaphor. When I was 8 years old at the Viewfort Boys Primary School, teacher Juanes Leos, unbeknownst to any of us, brought an orange to school in the class. During the mathematics period, I think the thing was to teach us about fractions. Teacher Juanes stood up in front of the class and said, "Listen, children, listen, boys, because it's a boys' school, this is an orange. Everybody sees? Yes, an orange." Took the knife, he cut it in two. He said, "I've divided it in half. So now I have 2 halves of 1 orange."
Right.
It means that if I take an orange or anything else that is whole and divide it in 2, I now have 2 equal halves.
That's true.
And he went on to divide it by 4, etc., etc. Today, as we speak, it is 60 plus years later, and I believe that has been the foundation of everything that I have learned to open up my mind to understand the world. Yeah. And I thank Teacher Juanes, who has left this world a long time ago. Later on, as I got older and started reading history, I was in Trinidad in the early 60s, read the history of Trinidad and Tobago by Dr. Eric Williams. And one of the things Dr. Eric Williams said in one of his histories of Trinidad and Tobago is that the British colonial masters had sucked the orange of Trinidad and Tobago dried, just as they did the sugarcane of Guyana, Barbados, and elsewhere.
Right.
So for the second time in my life, the orange was presented to me as a metaphor to understand the maths by dividing it. Now, to understand the behavior of the rulers of Trinidad and Tobago in colonial times. And the third part of this is to look at the politicians and journalists of St. Lucia in relation to the orange. And one of the things I've learned from the philosophy of the orange, of studying it, and from an agricultural point of view now, we had 2 beautiful, a word you like, oranges in Trinidad and Tobago at the time in the 60s, producing a lot.
Yeah.
We had the Valencia orange, which was a smooth orange, just slightly smaller than the navel orange. And every student in agriculture knew these 2 varieties.
Okay.
But there are times when the bigger Valencia was squeezed and it didn't have the kind of juice that the little Valencia had.
Yes.
And then later on, when I got involved in politics, I started studying people and looking at them as if they were oranges. Sometimes the bigger they are, the more major and thing, the less juice they have.
The less juice.
The little guy who is fit and looking well works harder sometimes than the guy who, his stomach is hard.
Big chest, big shoulders.
Because of the way he's eating, etc., etc. And then I extended that to people who came in as journalists. Some of them, like my friend Rick, big, mighty, and that, Mr. World, Mr. This, Mr. That. I've never said so to him before, and I'm saying it now for the first time.
Yeah.
I like Rick. We have had a good relationship. We speak well. But one of the things, Rick and I never had a love affair as such, because I believe Rick always suspected that I dealt with him from a different perspective of other politicians. I didn't have time to kiss, butt kiss, and you know what, as he likes to say.
Yeah.
Right? And I said to myself, I wonder if Rick was squeezed, what would come out of inside of him? What strength? What material? And you know, the conclusion I came to is a conclusion I came for Dr. Anthony as well. You know, if you squeeze these men, and 1 or 2 others, journalists and politics, what would come out of them? Fear, hatred, mistrust, anti-human love. You see the point I'm trying to make? So I have used the metaphor of the orange throughout the stages of my life to look at these people. But I want to take the opportunity before I stop. I'll continue along those lines. I want to say to your listeners, or to my listeners, or to our listeners, This is not an attack on Rick. As a matter of fact, I want to end this first little bit by saying Rick has always been ambitious as far as learning is concerned. Every time he has a program, including last Thursday, he has always tried to read and to quote different people. Last Thursday he was quoting a former President of the United States. He quoted Brother George Odlum at length on the cathedral issue.
Yeah.
And I want to say something I have not said to him on the phone, in person, or in public. I congratulate him because Rick now is one of the few St. Lucian fathers who has a son studying at Cambridge University in London.
Yes.
So I believe that has made his day. I love the boy, and Rick and I will speak, and I'm glad that the last meeting we had together with the government PR people, that Rick finally came out, and I haven't thanked him in public for that, finally came out and said, you know, all the things they were saying about Peter Josie and George Odlum, Peter knew nothing about that. I said, thank you, Jesus. It's not you, Rick, saying that. It's God putting those words in your mouth. The same way Daniel was able to be saved when God held the jaw of the lion closed.
Yeah.
That he opened Rick's mouth and let the truth come out.
I'm getting.
Do I get an amen?
Amen. Amen.
Yes. Your AC's off.
Yeah. What I'm getting from your part of your preamble, and I'm using a word here, and maybe you could help me out with it, is squeeze. Is the word squeeze coming into the equation?
If you press, well, you squeeze
because
an
of the
orange
exactly.
to get the juice.
That's right.
But if you squeeze a man, you don't have to physically handle him.
Yes,
what you have to do is to press him by asking him questions and go to why and why and why.
Yes.
And if you ask one of these big muscular fellas, not necessarily weightlifters, fellas that major,
a lot of mouth.
and you keep pressing him. And I was president of the St. Lucia Cement and Waterfront Workers Union. The biggest mouters in that union hall on a Friday, when the woman or the wife arrived to collect money, they tell me to the election, this one is not in a quick. They give the woman the envelope.
Yes.
Me, Chebesa.
Yeah, it's true.
These are things that I have seen, my brother. I know.
I know you're right on that.
So,
Michael, I want to come back to your preamble and something you mentioned that was very, very interesting. When you said that the cruise ship workers, those of the St. Lucian ones that are going to go back to the cruise ships for employment, they all has to be vaccinated.
Yes.
And then you said, but we have hotel workers here that are a little resenting the vaccine. So I want you to explain to them what is the difference. There's no difference. You are still involved with the tourism industry.
You know what the difference is, Champagne? Without the vaccination, they're not leaving St. Lucia during the cruise ship.
No. Now I was really emphasizing on the ones there.
Yeah. They can put you off and procrastinate and play games.
They
cannot play games with the cruise line.
Ships, that is right.
You either do it or you don't come.
Yeah. But I'm thinking eventually the hotel owners will make it mandatory that you be vaccinated to work there.
But then
even the airports, they are vaccinating all the airport staffs at the airport. All of the staff.
Yeah.
It's not mandatory, but they are providing the vaccinations down there.
Yeah, but you see, it takes time because, unfortunately, you cannot compel somebody to take the vaccination.
No.
You have to convince them.
That's right.
And that takes a little time.
Yes.
But when you have certain people, they go to their homes, their husband or their brother or whoever it is, they say, look at me, don't take it, and give it reasons. I have friends.
Yes.
Who tell me that they will never take the vaccine, that they themselves, and try to convince me. And I said to them, look, I'll say something to you. You keep your opinion.
Yeah,
I keep mine.
Yeah.
And these are intelligent people who eventually are affluent. They'll have to make that decision when the time has come. My humble opinion is that the international community has accepted the fact that the vaccine works.
Yes.
And they will put the necessary pressures on people who want to work with them, so that they can do business. And hopefully that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. What are the reasons they're giving you, Sir Michael, your friends, the ones that declining the vaccines? What are the reasons?
Some of them have said, well, they're not putting any foreign bodies in their body.
Yeah.
That is one aspect. The other thing they said that if they take care of themselves and they eat well and they exercise, they won't get it. But they have a point to a certain extent. But I keep telling them, I take one gentleman, Chris Cuomo on CNN.
Yes, Chris Cuomo, yes.
Who's a fit guy, exercising, running every day. And he got it. And he warned the people. So it can happen to any one of us. Now, going back to what I said in my preamble, another serious situation is that they don't understand that these young people, you have your mother, your father, your grandmother, who may be not in perfect health, who may have been had pre-existing conditions. What pre-existing conditions, and they are open to having this disease. Okay, so we as a people have to start thinking ourselves. How much do we?
That's right.
How much time? How much empathy are we prepared to pass in light of our mother and father, who have taken care of us over the years, and do not go out? We go out
and
catch the thing and bring it home.
Anyway, we have spoken so much on the. I know we could stay here all day talking about, but before we open up the lines, I want to go someplace.
Let me just make. Would you like to sit here? So let me sit
I said that.
I was just making a switch here, St. Lucia, because of the air conditioning.
The air conditioner, and our brother was a little down last week, so we don't want to freeze our brother.
You don't want to rub it in.
We don't want to rub it. Just move this one across. This one. Yes, exactly.
Move this one.
Yeah, so we're just doing a little switch, St. Lucia. Yes, we're doing a little switch. Anyway, we will be opening up our phone lines in about another 5 minutes, but we just wanted to go just talk a little bit about there's a sword-throwing ceremony today at the cul-de-sac roundabout, and I just wanted to talk to Sir Michael on that a little bit, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the bad little, and then we will open up our lines in about 5 minutes.
There's one thing quickly I want to say
go ahead.
About Rick and the virus, corona vaccine, sorry. I was very pleased and happy to see Rick take the virus.
The vaccine?
The vaccine, sorry.
Yeah.
Rick has lived in England, and England is tops in the world when it comes to medical research.
Yeah.
And I hope to God, I think it did, send the right message to all of his fans and the people who listen to him on radio and television.
Yeah, I've been very inspired by Mr. Wynne, and I always listen to Mr. Wynne. He's a very interesting solution, and we need to honor Mr. Rick Wynne. So, Michael,
yes,
we're going to go a sidetrack a little bit from the vaccine and everything. There's a sword-turning ceremony today at cul-de-sac. Are you aware of that? We got in the bridge.
Oh, no. What time?
I don't know the time, but I saw they putting up. It's 4 o'clock? Okay, because 2 o'clock, our camera crew will be there to bring it live.
Yeah, right.
And this is a great event that is happening today. That is letting St. Lucia know there is definitely going to be this bridge down in cul-de-sac. What is your take on that?
Champion?
And I was thinking of someone like you would be in the gallery, but maybe because of the virus and everything.
I'm going to invite myself because that's a project I have a lot of time for.
Yes.
The reason is, and Guy Joseph made a very telling statement that if you're coming from Soufrière, if you're coming from Vieux-Fort, if you're coming from Cass Street,
that's right.
If you're coming from the Morn side, you have to go through.
You have to be down there. So that's right.
It's really the transit point. Okay?
Yes. Yes.
And when I first saw and I got an artist's impression of this bridge, I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
Yes.
And having gone down there from time to time to watch what's going on, I'm so impressed with what is going on down there, because what I see the Japanese people are doing, they're giving us something really international.
That is right.
And I think Guy Joseph is right in that cul-de-sac
it's going to be the next town. That is right. I believe that too. I know the area very well.
About it, I think that's going to happen.
I know the area very well as a boy, and Mr. Josie would know the area very well because he was involved.
I do. I just want to issue a word of caution to the Ministry of Planning and to the Prime Minister, whom everybody knows I support.
Yeah.
I believe the limit of the old Mon to via cul-de-sac road, there should be some limit as to where the buildings go, where the city is developed. I think we should start working from that road down to the sea, establish the seaport that Sir John had envisaged. And I think people like Kentucky should be the furthest point so far, and try not to encourage people to continue going east on that important valley. Okay, because we will need some mechanized agriculture in time to come. Our population is growing. We need to feed ourselves with vegetables and the things that the Prime Minister and his team, his cabinet team has chosen.
So one side of it should be developed and another side should be reserved?
Going from the main road, from Mon to Cicero, not Cicero, sorry, to cul-de-sac, and going through there, and then everything on the right if you're going down. Develop the port, develop the new city, but let us build agriculture on the left hand to feed that new city.
You definitely have a passion for agriculture. But
without it, we starve, Champagne. We cannot depend on people to feed us.
I agree.
We can't.
I agree. And that's a huge area, from the cul-de-sac all the way stretching to the
And most importantly, it can take light mechanization. Can be mechanized, and you know, mechanization saves time and labor. Okay, I'm sorry to be speaking. No,
that's all right. And you have the passion, and like you said, we have to feed ourselves. So, Michael, before we open up the phone lines, and there's a lot to talk about, but I'm going to go one more in one more area, the bad little. And you've heard me spoken about that for years. You've heard me said that I don't understand why previous governments have not taken the initiative to do something about the bad little based on the history. The history is that Ravin Poisson had collapsed back in 1949, I think it was?
No, it was earlier than that, Sir Michael.
Earlier than 1949?
Yeah, earlier than 1930s.
In the 30s? It might have been 39, actually.
39, and we have had a lot of loss of life up there, but no one seemed to act on that. And we continue to use that road, even if we had seen certain
because it's hard work.
It's a lot of hard work.
It's hard work.
Now, the Prime Minister about a month ago was here and he spoke about the tunnel running somewhere under the bad little. Sir John had spoken about it. What do you think about the tunnel being the initiative about the tunnel?
Personally, I thought it was a very good idea, even when John Compton bounced it off, but everybody thought he was a dreamer. As a matter of fact, I told you so at one of my last shows, that when they were doing the tunnel on the Millennium Highway, the longest one, I took the opportunity of meeting the president or the CEO of the company.
The company, for the tunnel.
Okay. And I said to him, he says, that's not a problem. I actually went there with him. I got a copy of a little drawing that they had, and he said to me, he could do 3 meters in one day.
Yes, I remember. Yes, we spoke about that last week.
So I think it's something. I'm not an engineer, Champagne. A few critics have said it would be dangerous. They gave some reason I don't know, but I know that the current Prime Minister has been hell bent on putting the road from Dennery to Vaccination, which is also a good move because it encompasses a number of them. But I hear what you say. I think having discussed the matter with some international agencies already, mainly one from Canada, they seem to advise the Prime Minister that it is better to start the road first.
The northern one, the eastern one. The one from Denver to
Now,
I would think so myself.
Now, I'm not a Prime Minister and I'm not an engineer, but for me, I have looked into this thing. So if you're coming out of Ancillary, coming out of Canaries, you're going down to the south. That means you have to come into Castries, drive into the north, and connect onto that Eastern Highway, which is great. The Eastern Highway will open up the lands and development and everything. But if you're going to come into we have a developing country, you need a real thriving road network. The bad little for me, that's just me, my personal opinion. I would construct the bad little and put in a toll. Let it be self-sufficient. Let it pay for itself.
When you say, of them have to go.
When you say you would construct it, what do you mean?
I mean, I would have the tunnel before the East Coast.
Where would you have it?
I would run it somewhere in the flat of Ravin Poisson, somewhere in that area. Run it across the river, put a huge bridge across the river, and run it right there beneath the bad little.
To end where?
To come out somewhere in Tomazo or somewhere in Grand Riviere or Den Riviere, in that area, somewhere there. That's just my personal opinion.
The problem that we have.
Yeah.
Whichever organization that will do the funding we're going to look at the macroeconomic results. And when their view is that if they put the road, from
the East Coast
to up there,
yeah,
you're going to open up a whole lot of lands.
That is true.
Okay?
That is true.
They have the opinion that if they have to do the two, that one should take priority. So the government's hands are kind of tied, because unless they have the blessing of the World Bank and the CDB to do those things.
I understand the money comes into the equation. But don't you think that the bad little, in my mind, it is really, really necessary that we do something about it, because you could see it keeps collapsing all the time. It's a big chunk, we lost there.
I hear you keep saying it's in your mind. There's nothing wrong with it being in your mind.
It has collapsed so many different times.
I asked a question a while ago, Champagne, why they have neglected it.
Yes. That's a good question.
I think I can answer why. Because most administrations figure that every time they have created an enhancement
to it,
in their eyes, it's
not
okay. Too bad now.
Yes.
They didn't have to spend all that
That
money.
is right.
They can go ahead.
That is right. And you're very right on that.
But nature has taught them a lesson.
That's right.
No matter what you do. Because from what I understand, the Bardell Hill Road was first followed. It was a horse track. The horses to go around, they followed where the horses went, and they built up and made a road.
Based on the track.
And it's not very stable, because it's the rainforest.
That's right.
The soil there is very good. It's not that, it has no...
Not one of those solid kind of, yes.
No solid base.
But you know something? Nothing before its time.
That is true. And before we open up the phone lines,
incidents will bring that to the forefront, because they'll have the evidence to present to the CDB and to the World Bank. Gentlemen, look, this is causing us a serious problem. And they will look, because when you look at the international coming, and from what I'm hearing, it's going to cost like 250 million to 300 million US to put that road, okay?
That is a lot of money.
It's a lot of money to us.
That is
a drop in the ocean. When you figure Biden just bought $2 trillion for infrastructure, and another $2 trillion, that's nothing.
Let me add something to what Sir Michael has just said. When I joined the Ministry of Agriculture from UWI, there were still 2 Englishmen working with Sir John in the Ministry of Planning. And their specific area of expertise was to calculate the value of goods that would be produced from an area where the government intended to build a feeder road. So in other words, you want to build 3 miles of road from point A to point B. If you do it, it will cost you X amount. But if you follow up with production to a maximum of what the land can bear, this is what we expect in return. And they did that for a lot of different areas and sections in St. Lucia. So Sir Michael is correct. The British actually had people here doing those studies and sending it up obviously to England, and then coming back to advise the Premier. He was not Prime Minister yet. You see the point I'm making? So the land was developed not in a haphazard political way. Oh, I'm representing them. My people need a road there. This is like the kind of manger cochon that we developed ourselves into. Is that, listen, guy, this Dennery Valley on the other side of thing, going down to Dennery village, is a place where you almost can plant a pickaxe handle, right? If we are going to develop agriculture seriously, that is an area of priority. Let us look at the land distribution, the landowners, and let us see if they will agree to plant what the Ministry of Agriculture is recommending. This is what sensible development entails.
It's too cold for him.
We'll not stay up for a little while.
You understand the point I'm making, Brother Champagne?
I understand.
And this is our land. Because the person who is representing, let's say, Dennery Valley today, an example I just gave, in 10, 20 years, when agriculture might be flourishing there, somebody else may be representing it, and it will still be our St. Lucia.
That is true. The land goes nowhere.
Champagne.
The only thing I know is the Badlil, the construction that is going on there today regarding the huge chunk of the road that just went is costing the government a lot of money. Had the tunnel built 5 years ago, the government now would be making money because it would be self-sufficient, it would be paying itself for a toll. And wait a minute, we are not sure, God forbid, that we're not going to lose another chunk. Let's assume, God forbid, that the government fixed this huge chunk, 30 feet, and then 2 weeks later, another chunk goes.
The question you should ask as a journalist to the Labour Party, are you all satisfied? Should we spend money on roads? Or should we give it to people to eat?
Someone said that they should not have fixed
But
the
Champagne, that is how, my brother, you should learn to think.
You know what they said? Give it to the people to eat.
Yes, give
it to the people to eat. See, people don't eat roads.
People don't eat roads.
So
we just lost that
But at the same time, their friends have been calling in, why my road is not fixed?
Why my road is not fixed?
Can you believe
that?
So
we could go on and on this morning, but we have definitely to turn on the phone lines, and the phone lines have been turned on, 4560931 or 4850931 if you'd like to ask my guest, the Honorable Statesman, any question, because these are two historians and knows a whole lot about our beautiful St. Lucia. 4560931 or 4850931. So, Michael, I heard that you said you were going to invite yourself today.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for telling me. I'm going to go. Yeah.
A beautiful morning to you. Hello.
Yeah, good morning, Holy Ghost.
Oh.
Good morning. Yes. Hello.
Yes. So, what happened to Holy Ghost? Is he thinking of a new channel? Josie Ghost.
Champagne.
Say it again, caller. We missed you for a little bit.
I'm asking Josie Ghost. What is he thinking of? Is he thinking of a new channel?
Who is this?
He's directing the question to
Josie Ghost. I'm directing the question to Josie Ghost.
Caller, I'm so happy they didn't say Josie Holy Ghost, you know. But that was a joke.
Yeah, you heard the question?
Give me the remote.
Whether I am going to direct the tunnel somewhere else.
Yeah, I think he asked something about the tunnel. I didn't get it. I was trying to.
Let me say something to you, caller. I knew Mr. Lenny Santil personally when he was chief engineer or colonial engineer in St. Lucia. And I believe it was Lenny Santil working after Sir Michael Chasney's brother who suggested to Sir John, who was then John Compton, of course, Premier, that there needs to be a straight as possible road from the north to the south. And in his engineering suggestion, civil engineering suggestion, it should be a tunnel going through the Badalil.
Yeah.
At that time, it was neither here nor there for me. I thought it was a brilliant idea if it could be done. I've since learned from my American friends, from my friends in Canada, in England, in Europe, and the developed world, that if you have the money, the engineer, the civil engineer, can deliver almost anything that you ask of him or her.
Yeah.
So as a St. Lucian now, I would go with the least cost option, because we really need money to do other things.
We definitely do need money.
Yeah.
Thanks for holding, caller. Good morning.
Hi, good morning to you and your guest.
Good morning. Thank you. We're
Hi,
doing
good morning.
I want to ask one question. Regarding the sitting yesterday, I heard that Philip Defier and Healer made a reference or spoke to St. Lucia. Can anyone enlighten me on this? That's one question, because I also listened to Rick Wayne, and Rick Wayne did make quoted something back in 91. I can't remember. George Odlov stated about that St. Lucia, and again, you know, all the violence, etc. happened. So I really want to get an understanding on what is this St. Lucia that they're speaking about. And,
yes.
Pardon?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. And I was also, again, based on what I saw yesterday in the House of Parliament, as to how Philip Defier carries himself, and you know, like everybody is to his back. And what really triggered me, really following this, is that Kenny Anthony almost wanted to say, I stand for the bill, but he came with some story as to what he expected and how he expected the entire presentation of Sir Michael Chasney would have been. And like, as if, you know, he's like, he wants to say yes, but he wants to say it in a way that, you know, I am not going to put my people aside.
Okay.
So right now, as a young person, I literally try my best to follow the different media houses and, you know, take notes and stuff like that and see how I could educate myself.
Yes.
And I really want to say, though, I will listen to your response off air.
Yes.
But right now, I believe everyone in St. Lucia should really understand that the extension, the request, you know that they will make it political, but then we need to also understand that this election is not about color. It's about progress, education, implementation,
and safety,
great health, security, and sustainability.
That's right.
So if everyone, the young people living in school right now, etc., could at least, sometimes you go through the different blogs and see all the negativity out there, but if one should literally sit and think for themselves, that they would understand that we're doing so much to educate the young persons or persons after that are coming to want to join. And then you see in the manner of how the politicians themselves are fighting in the House of a Parliament, not carrying themselves correctly, and, you know, taking people for a joke, and it is really sad. So I really want an understanding on what is this to St. Lucia.
Yes.
Because I felt hurt when I heard it, like, what exactly these people are already speaking about.
Yes.
I have an idea, but I would like to get you guys' opinion on that.
All right. Thanks a lot, caller. Beautiful. And it's a young caller, a young person. And
yes,
she's
very interesting.
Yes, very. And she's trying for a response from Mr. Peter Josie and yourself, Sir Michael. Why is it that the SLP continues to make mention of a to St. Lucia?
Okay. You want me to go? Yeah. Okay. You know, first of all, it's a political ploy to divide the country. Initially, that was the problem. What they don't want to say, but what's in their heads is that you have the haves and the have-nots. That's all it's about.
Okay.
And they're using that as an excuse and taking all these little petty examples to do certain things.
Right.
In my opinion, there's no such thing as two St. Lucias. There's one St. Lucia. There are different kind of people. You have different class of people. I don't care who and what you are, Champagne. In the world, you'll have rich people.
Amen.
You'll have medium class, and there are poor people all over the world.
All over.
I just showed a film what is happening in India. Okay, 1.6 billion people. China with all its money. The United Kingdom, the US. Look at what's happening there. So it's a matter of managing the social system on an island. But people, I'm not going to call names because I don't want to be personal at this point in time, but the one person who keeps pushing the point all the time is a particular member of parliament for his own agenda.
Hold on a minute.
His own agenda, trying to create this whole situation.
Yeah.
Okay, I can finish it when after your call.
Okay, I wanted Brother Peter to respond, but let's take the call. Thanks for holding, caller. Good morning.
Hello, good morning, Mr. Champagne.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Josie. Good morning, Mr. Shah.
Hi, good morning,
sir.
Now, Mr. Champagne.
Yes, sir.
Your first caller make a mistake and you still let Mr. Josie answer that, man.
What mistake?
He made a mistake. He want Josie goes to answer that question. That's not Mr. Josie name. That's the old name that Philip JP gave Mr. Josie.
Brother Josie was not offended.
That's okay, caller. That's political theater. I understand.
That's
That's why.
Mr. Josie.
Yes, sir.
That question is for you.
Sure.
I believe Mr. Ring the Bell, not Ring the Bell, or the other one.
Dr. Secret.
Dr. Secret?
Dr. Secret.
Or is it Mr. Norbert?
He did what?
He's playing that song every night at 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
The Anthem song. And I heard on a top show, they say that definitely he's not supposed to do that because that song have a purpose for that.
He's not supposed to play the national anthem?
He's playing that every 6 o'clock in the evening.
What song is it? What song is it?
The national anthem. What is wrong with that? What is wrong with that?
What song?
The national anthem. Our national anthem.
Oh yeah, I heard them talk here.
But what is wrong with that?
That definitely not supposed to be playing that song. That song have a purpose to play.
Caller,
yes, sir.
I am totally kerfuffled and baffled and confused. Why do you think that song is not appropriate?
That's what they had that topic on the top show this morning.
But you should call the talk show and ask them.
Yes.
Because this is our.
They have called you Alan to find out if he's not supposed to be playing it because they say it have a purpose.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something, caller.
Yeah.
The national anthem of St. Lucia honors the people and island and country of St. Lucia, its government and everybody else. What you ought not to do is to take the national anthem, change the wording around, and do all kind of nonsense with it so that you lose really what the creators or those who established the melody and music, right? But when the national anthem is playing, I'll give you some advice free of charge. And I want you to do it, please, for my sake. Whether I am around or not, do that for my sake. Stand to attention. Put your hands, your two hands, close the fingers together. Put the thumb next to the index finger. Stand to attention, chest up, and listen to your national anthem at attention. Will you do that for me?
I will do it, because when I say I will call you and say that. Because
Thank you.
You are a part of government.
Thank you.
So you could give me a better answer than that before they bring it too far away.
If I knew you personally, I would get you into a cadet course, some kind of disciplinary ranks.
But the HTS plays it before.
Because that's why we are the family of...
Every morning.
That's right.
The show.
These are the formidable young St. Lucians we want to build up. But people like you are the young St. Lucians that we are trying to build up. The Alan Shastney, Sir Michael Shastney, you know, Mr. Champagne, myself, people like these, you all are the young people that the country is trying to build up.
But why is there supposed to be a specific time when that is played? I mean, I want to get involved with that.
Again, it's misinformed. I don't think these people mean anything bad, Champagne. I honestly don't think. Yeah?
Hello, good morning. Hello?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Champagne. Good morning to your guests.
Morning.
The reason I going on that national anthem, the topic, it will get hot. The reason why the SLP right now, they cannot appreciate the national anthem, because every program the government has invited them to, for instance, Independence Day, National Day, where you see them?
No.
Their seats are empty.
Good point, caller.
Their seats are empty. These people do not care about St. Lucia. They're not patriotic. If they only cared, they would have probably chosen one color out of our flag to represent the party. They took a red. These people will always complain because these people do not like St. Lucia at heart. Their history is there. So they will complain. They don't know about the national anthem. I've never heard any one of them that talk shows. Not even talk about the motto, the anthem. To engage the young children in these things, the discipline, the motto, you see that is written there for St. Lucia. It has so much discipline in it. They will not touch that because they are lawlessness, representation for St. Lucia. They will not go there. So the national anthem, the playing of the national anthem will always trouble them. They're not ready. They're not for St. Lucia.
They're lucky they're not in Beijing, China.
Exactly. Maybe the red, that's where they represent too, Mr. Josie.
You know, caller,
Red China.
When you get to that level of subjects.
Ignorance, Champion. Ignorance.
When you get to that level of subjects, it tells you that there's nothing else you could clean on to. Because there's so many things.
Exactly.
Yes, there's nothing else. I mean, a national anthem is played on a radio station every 6 o'clock. The gentleman shuts down everything as a form of respect.
Everything.
He shuts down everything. He doesn't take a phone call. He doesn't do anything. And it plays as a form of respect to St. Lucia. It also comes on at 6 o'clock in the morning. What is wrong with that?
But you know what happened?
That's our identity.
It just shows you a little education can be a dangerous thing.
Yes.
This guy is, as far as I'm concerned, as far as I'm aware, didn't go to any highfalutin university. Dr. Secret,
no,
did he?
No.
But the man from Castries South has been all over the place studying. He has PhD, Dr. Anthony, that one, Philippe.
Yes.
You would think, and that is some complaint I've always launched against them.
Yeah.
You would think that this guy would say, boy, this is the humbleness from which I have come.
Yeah.
Let me speak in such a way to pull up the ghetto kids, man.
Yes.
From
where they are.
Yeah. Let me pull them up. The Viewfort Stable Boys.
Yes.
The guys from Fuasho. The Mashup Aussie.
That's
These
right.
are people you should be raising and lifting up. Call them together. Have a discussion with them. Feed them at least a meal for a day. But you think these guys think that way? If there's a Roro and there's something to be broken down, there's bottle to be thrown, there's fishes to be
This is what they support.
That is what these kids are supposed to be.
Yeah.
I tell you, Champagne, this thing hurts me. You'd be surprised. Sometimes I get so emotional. I say one of these days I might break into tears on your program.
Yeah, but that's all right.
I can't do it. I can't take it, man.
But
these guys are too dishonest.
That is so true. That is so true, Mr. Jose, because where is that coming in? Somebody playing the national anthem. The national anthem is ours.
Thank you.
Now, caller.
Every time, hold on, Champagne, every time I tune in, especially at that time for Dr. Secret, just to listen to it.
Exactly.
Because it's not something that you hear all the time.
No.
Thank you.
Exactly.
You know, and I feel so proud just listening to it. I keep quiet and I just listen to it. I don't even text any comment when you see it's going on.
It's almost like praying, caller. It's almost like praying.
Here's something else. Here's something else, caller. I know when I was in school, that was taught. The national anthem and the words of it was taught. I am guaranteeing you today that there's a lot of young people that don't know all of the words of the national anthem. I am taking a bet on that. So here we are. We have a radio station that is playing the national anthem in its entirety, where young people could learn the words of the national anthem. Their parents could say to them, listen to that. At 6 o'clock, the national anthem is going to come on Sky FM. You listen to the wording of the song so you could sing it. But on the other hand, now these guys are criticizing it.
No, not these guys. Some people in politicians representing certain constituencies. People have voted for these guys.
That is my take on these things. When these talk show hosts come out with things like that will hurt the country, the opposition ministers need to stand up. Stand up and condone these things. You know, you don't say these things. If you're representing the country, you want the people is the country. It's not about yourself, it's the country.
Now, caller, let me say one more thing.
Tell the talk show host that it is wrong. Don't do that.
Let them condemn it.
Let me say one more thing on the basis of Sky FM. Now, we have been under attack for months, because we have been the station that the people listen to, and we want to thank God for that. So they have continuously tried to get us engaged in a back and forth. So we have not done that. And I've said to the other guys here, don't allow yourselves to get carried away with these people. So they are trying every way to get us engaged in some cheap conversation. And they have done their job today. They have done their job today. So look at where they went. They went to attack a plane of a song of national pride.
Yes, sir. Can you imagine that? A song that's supposed to that is representing the country.
Goodness.
So do not play it on your station.
Unbelievable. Thanks a lot, caller.
Who are you all representing? Who are you all representing?
Yes.
Isn't it country?
Amen.
Anyway,
thanks a lot, caller. Have a great day. Unbelievable, boy. Hello, good morning.
Who are you all representing?
Hello? Turn on your radio, caller. Turn on your radio and then let's talk.
Okay, I'm going further away.
Yes, thank you.
Good morning. Good morning, Champagne.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning to favorite elderly statesman. Great minds, man. Great minds.
As you guys know.
Good morning, Bernardo Conway and Donald Rose.
Thank you, caller. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Let me tell you something. When I used to live in Barbados, and it still goes on, Barbados radio stations plays the national anthem the minute they're on and when they're going off. Even the television station. And they've been doing that for years. Now, I'm not surprised of the SLP and the tokens.
Yeah.
I'm not and the Kaka. I'm not surprised at them because I personally believe they are the tribe of Satan. They are a tribe of Satan, okay? If they attack the church, what else they would attack? They attack the Anglican Church. They attack the Seventh-day Church.
Yeah.
Right? Well, there's another church they attack, you know. I want to know who that's going to attack. These guys are ruthless. We have no room for those guys. These guys, SMB is a tribe of Satan. That's the truth.
The only problem, caller, is that, caller, we have to educate our people to make them see sense out of nonsense and don't let these guys influence them. I think that is the secret of democracy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Could you imagine a man that's in a church a politician or want to be representative in Parliament went to the church, terrorize the church, and some people probably traumatized and having all kinds of nightmares and stuff and daymares. And the leader of the party is saying, if we do something wrong. Could you imagine that?
Yeah, there's doubt.
So Michael Schaaf said to Peter Josie, can you all imagine that?
Yeah.
The man said, the leader is saying, if we done something wrong,
we kind of thought,
Caller, you have to denounce.
Caller, we kind of thought earlier that the people of St. Lucia understood what's going on, and we deliberately, Sir Michael and myself, didn't want to dwell on this. You know? I think it has, you know, the people are educated, they understand what's going on, and what has to happen will happen.
These guys need to get, these guys don't listen to me. These guys is in fit being in St. Lucia, part of being in Parliament. I will bet my life. Let me tell you something.
What would you bet your life on?
Let me tell you this one.
What would you bet your life on?
Well, I'll tell you. Listen to this. A St. Lucia guy called me in Bermuda. And he said to me, Leonard, this SPSLP. Now this guy was a diehard SLP until the great man Alan Michael Shafty came along. This man said, he asked me a question. He said, Leonard, tell me something. I said, what? If the SLP was in Bermuda, how many votes do you think they would get? So I said, 100. The whole party will get 100. You know what he said to me? Well, you're more stupid than I thought. He said, man, they will get one vote. They will get one vote. They will get one vote. That SLP will not get one vote in Bermuda. I said to be nice. In Bermuda and Barbados. Not one vote.
All right, caller, I'll have some more calls coming in.
Let me finish with this. So Michael and Sir Peter Josie, I have to clone the two of y'all. I have to clone y'all.
That's okay.
Yes, I have to clone y'all, man.
That's okay.
I y'all to clone y'all.
Yeah, we can get it.
All right, thanks a lot, my friend.
A good U.S. geneticist to do that.
Hello, good morning.
Oh, sorry.
Thanks for holding. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Champion. How are you?
I'm doing good, thank you.
Yes, good morning, Sir Michael and Mr. Peter Josie. Good morning.
Good morning, my brother.
Good morning.
I just want to make a few general statements. First of all, I find absolutely nothing wrong in Sky FM playing the national anthem at a particular time. The gentleman is very disciplined. He cuts off everything. And he plays that anthem. Now, we have a situation in St. Lucia where we keep on complaining that St. Lucians are not patriotic. General statements being made like that. And there are a number of St. Lucians who do not know the words of our national anthem.
I just said that, caller. You're so right.
I think it is a very good thing that the gentleman is doing, playing the national anthem to St. Lucia. And of course, he's playing the entire anthem. He's not playing one verse. He's playing the entire anthem, so that you can help make our people more sensitize our people to the words of the national anthem and try to make our people more patriotic.
That's right.
Secondly, I think there should be every radio station, television station should be required at some stage during their programs to do exactly the same thing.
Thank you.
Because that is how we are going to instill in our people what our national anthem is, what it means, and the words of our national anthem. And maybe at some stage we could even have a program where we discuss the national anthem.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so I am very pleased with Dr. Secret's position in that regard, and playing this national anthem at 6 o'clock in the evening every evening. I am very pleased with that.
Would you know
if these people who are opposing it can tell me, give me valid reasons, or more so ethical reasons why this should not be played on the radio station, then we can discuss it. But as far as I see now, it's just that they themselves are not patriotic, and they themselves do not want other people to learn the words of this national anthem, because the words of our national anthem make them look very bad.
Let me ask you a quick question, caller. Don't hang up yet. Let me ask you a quick question.
Yeah.
Do you think that if the Labour Party was in power today, that same Labour Party in opposition, with one or two other people to make up a majority, do you think that they would stop Dr. Secret from playing it? From playing the national anthem?
First of all, I would say God forbid them ever getting into power, first of all. Secondly, the behavior of these people are not in keeping with the words of our national anthem. And I strongly believe that the dictatorial position that these guys are taking, especially in the House of Assembly, when you see the behavior of leaders in the House of Assembly, when you see that kind of behavior, you know for a fact that these guys are not do not have the tendency to support the words of our national anthem.
These guys,
I believe that they would stop it even in schools.
These guys are just looking for attention. Trust me. That's
I think that's what it is.
That's all they're doing, looking for attention. And nobody's taking them on. So
we have not taken them on, so they find something today to really have us to talk about, Colin.
You see what I'm saying?
I think ignoring them is very important. People are criticizing the police because they did not arrest Mr. Henry, and because they have not taken any position. I guess Champagne is one of those people who are criticizing the police, the law.
The law.
But let me tell you, I think the legal system, the law enforcers are very wise in not taking these guys on.
Because you know, caller, when you don't take them on, they get to hate you.
Dr. Rosie was very, very smart in not asking the Sergeant of Arms to put those people out. Let them go out on their own accord. Ignore them.
So, caller, I'll tell you why.
And let them.
And caller, that is what they hate the most. What you're telling them to do to them.
Yes.
So, caller, I will tell you why.
Them more than because they want a civil unrest. They want a civil unrest in St. Lucia. They've been fighting for it.
That is right.
And they're looking for attention within that civil unrest.
You're very right on that, caller. And while you're very right on that, because they're looking for something, I will still say to you, a gentleman was arrested and he's now on remand at the Borderley Correctional Facility for this. He did not even go enter the church at Piero, where he threw a stone out. I don't know how much you remember. He threw a stone after a statue.
Yes, he did not hurt anybody. He took down a statue.
That's right.
Or a cross or something.
And he was arrested and he's still awaiting his trial. So that is why I was making the comparison between the two.
So rightly, Mr. Henry should have been arrested.
That was my point, caller.
But that is what the Labour Party was looking for. That he's arrested, and so they can mobilize their people and start a civil unrest in this country.
I agree. All right, caller. Thanks a lot, my friend. Thanks for the contribution. Yes.
You're welcome.
Yes, and well said, Colin.
Yeah, I think Mr. Josie was wanting to respond to that lady.
Yes, about the two St. Lucians, but the calls continue to come in, and that's why
let me just make a short statement on
I think it's important to respond to that.
Okay, hold on 1 minute, caller. Go ahead.
I gave a long answer on the two St. Lucians.
Yeah.
And you can look at it from a political point of view. In politics, you can always argue that the world is square and not round. You may not be correct, but there are arguments to support it. And I use the process of osmosis, where you have a semi-permeable membrane and you have a concentrated solution in the membrane, within the membrane, like sweet potato, for example.
Yeah.
You cut a piece from the bottom, about 25 inches, like not 25 inches, a 25 cents piece.
Yeah.
And they take out the middle, scoop out the middle from it after having cut it on the side, right? Sideways. You put sugar and a little water in the middle of this Irish potato, and then put the Irish potato itself in a little low jar of water. Don't let the water come to the top.
Yeah.
Osmosis, the very dilute solution on the outside, which is the majority of people who have nothing, who are poor, who are struggling, they will be attracted to the people who have made it where the sugar is. Are you following me?
I am there with you.
And after time, the water inside of this Irish potato will become more diluted because there will be more water. That is what the politics, the philosophy of politics in a poor country like St. Lucia should be about. It's not that the rich and the thing, and none of them shall ever meet. a person like Hilaire, with his education, should be saying to the people of St. Lucia and to his party, we have come to find a Labour Party that has been struggling for years, from sugarcane to colonialism to slavery to this and that and that and that. This is a new body of men, and what we want to do is to try to bring in all of the Malawi around and see how those who have already had a job, those who have done so well that they have created jobs, how can we work with these people to train our St. Lucians so that we build a more solid foundation for the generations to come? That's the point I was trying to make. Okay? So if you want to argue that there are two St. Lucians, for the purpose of argument, you can argue anything.
Yeah.
You can argue anything. Long time as students, we used to argue that a beer bottle is not a bottle. It's a pint. Now you decide how you're going to face that argument. A pint is made of the same quartz and material as a bottle of rum. But for the purposes of the argument, the quart is not the same as the pint because it holds, you see, children, young people that are idle, these are the kind of things that people brain thrust about when they're at university and they have nothing to do, they have no money.
Yeah, I understand. All right, caller, thanks for holding. Good morning.
Yes, good morning, and good morning to my two legends.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, my brother. Yes, sir.
Yesterday I was listening to Ernest Hilaire, and all what the man was talking about, I don't believe he get it right at all. The man was just off track, criticizing the front line and criticizing the police and trying to make St. Lucian revolt against, you know, the front line and the police and what have you. But what I really see in this guy, for a guy that says he holds a doctorate, my God, I will refrain from calling him Dr. Ernest Hilaire. Now I see exactly those guys cannot educate me at all. I could see those guys does not have a vision for this country. If these guys were in power and this pandemic, they had got this pandemic underneath the Labour government, Kwapo would smoke our pipe in St. Lucia.
Yeah, I believe that, caller.
I believe that, caller. I've always been saying that. Always I've been saying that.
I have a serious problem with these guys, man. Because when you look at those 6 horsemen, them fellas, they care about nothing. As though the way they're thinking, if I can come in there, I will just mash up everything.
Yeah.
And I don't really care about nada.
Yeah, Brother Peter Josie often say, Brother Peter Josie always said that he bring it about like a guy with his ball and bat, and they go to the field. And once you get him out, he just takes his ball and his bat.
But more than that, you know, Champagne, when you say 6 horsemen, you must not end there. You must say, hold on, 6 horsemen of the apocalypse. These are the dangerous guys that actually bring about the end of the earth. If you look at Dante and that kind of... So you must also say it, because the apocalypse is end times. So it is just not 6 horsemen. Okay,
those
if you're going...
You right?
When those guys see you, they smile with you. And when they go back at their house, boy, some of our St. Lucians really ignorant, you know. We want them,
These guys are useless, caller. You know that, I know that. So Michael knows that, Champagne knows that.
I definitely know that. I definitely do.
They're showing the venom they have, man. Those guys just like the most dangerous snake we have in the world. And you know where it is? In St. Lucia. They're not far from how they call the snake we have here?
The Ferdinand.
They are Ferdinand, man. Those guys are dangerous,
the venom is very dangerous.
Yeah, it's the world's most dangerous snake.
Fight you, Kwapo will smoke your pipe.
Yeah.
I can never in my life vote SLP.
All right.
Never.
Okay.
I did that once, I helped, and I will put out the business of the SLP when the time comes.
Yeah,
okay,
beautiful.
caller. Thank you very much.
All right. Have a good one. All right. Thanks for holding. Good morning. Good afternoon. We have gone into the afternoon. Hello.
That's the last caller.
Good afternoon. Oui, Mogatano.
yo vwe stade sou confusion pour ça pas parler.
Yo pas à faire ça, quoi, là.
Chérie, frère.
Merci.
Merci, Kola.
Débranchez nous, les autres qui parlent, pas répondre.
Oui, merci, un chat pour ça. Oui.
Dianti la pour y aller champagne avec FM 93.1. Okay, Kola?
Okay, merci, Ashai. We doing the last one?
Yeah, let's do
Okay, so you're gonna be our final caller this afternoon. Caller, good afternoon. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
And how do you do?
I'm doing well.
Yes.
Very interesting program, but the only thing that really moved me to call is the part about the national anthem.
Yes.
In my growing up, what I knew it to be is that the national anthem is played for events or anything of national importance.
Mm-hmm.
For example, before the Prime Minister's address, and if it's a national radio station, at 5 a.m. prior to the opening, you would get the national anthem, and at closure at midnight. So I'm just saying, not that I don't support your station, I think it's good because it's never good PM. But I'm just saying, I support those who say that it's not appropriate to play it because this is somewhat of a political station, and you all are doing a good job at what you all are doing, but just I'm not a hack where if I think the party that I support is doing something that is not right for me to just join a bandwagon and I color myself red because I say I don't support it. But I'm just saying in my upbringing and from what I know that the national anthem is played at events and anything that is of national importance to the country. And by far the station is somewhat political in support of the Prime Minister, his programs, his initiatives, which is well done.
Okay,
so this is just my take on it, and I think Dr. Secret is doing a political show, and it's not a show of national importance, it's of importance for the supporters of the United Workers' Party and the Prime Minister.
So can I engage you, caller, just a minute?
Yes.
Now, I'm happy that you said that, and it is played, and you're right, it is always played at a time of national interest, but does it ever say anywhere in the Constitution that it should not be played outside of that?
Oh, I didn't go the part of the
Okay, but I don't know. I'm just asking the question because I don't know myself.
In keeping with the Constitution, and you're not doing anything that is against it and the use of it, then all well and good.
Right.
But I have not gone into getting any formal information about it because I just know it was played at the beginning of Radio St. Lucia at 5 a.m. play it, and when they close at midnight, when the Prime Minister is going to address or anything, or where you're commanding the attention of the nation.
So I am going to investigate myself, do my research where it's if it says that it should only be played.
Guide everybody, you know, because you have a wide listenership. You're
yes, we do. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. But let me ask you one more thing. Do you, and I respect what you said, and I said I'm going to do my researches on it, but don't you believe it is something that is done very, very well in the fact where a lot of our young people don't even know the words of the national anthem because it is not played as often as it should?
Now that is a different aspect to the query and the concerns of the people who called.
Yeah.
If you're going to use the national anthem to educate and to raise the awareness of national pride and so on, then you use it in a different way, a different forum, a different purpose and a different target.
But how frequent do you play then, Colin?
I'm just saying you probably have to design a program that speaks to that. And you use it because this is what you are actually doing. Okay. Right?
All right.
But to use it in the scheme of things, in the whole political atmosphere, well charged because we're heading towards a national election. I don't think, for me, it's not being used.
All right. So I'm gonna conduct my investigations on that, and I will let the whole world know. All right?
Yes, and I would like to know as well. But God bless all of you.
Thanks a lot, Colin. All right, beautiful. Yes, sir. Go ahead, Mr. Peter. You wanted to say something?
Somebody's calling.
Someone is on the line there. Okay, let's take a call. Hello, good morning. Good afternoon.
Hey, gentlemen. Good morning. So, Michael, Peter, Champagne, all of your morning.
Good morning, sir.
Champagne, I'm your topic. I don't know whether you are the topic I chew in lead.
Yeah, someone called and brought it about. Yes.
Yeah, but it's something I need to speak about.
Yeah.
I noticed that a part of the Labour's history has been spoken about quite a bit these days. Even rickshaw on Thursday. I realized Norbert yesterday. And history of the Labour Party and the way they behave is all about the place these days as to how reckless they were. I know a few years ago that Peter Josie asked Rick to interview Rick on Rick's own show. And you know what I would like? I would like to have Rick and Josie probably on your station, or if not on Sky, even on Rick's
show itself. Yes.
Yeah, whichever show.
Yeah.
So that Peter Josie can interview Rick.
Okay.
So St. Lucians can know.
Yeah.
And what happened and what transpired between 1997 up to 2016 or even up to 2021. You know?
Yeah.
Show St. Lucians Labour's behavior and the kind of things that Labour used to do.
Yeah.
Caller, you're trying to get me killed, caller.
No, you cannot. Why
get you killed now?
I would think if we are to do a good job of that, we should go back to 1982 because that's when everything broke down. And guess what? I might as well tell you, when it broke down in 82, all the guys who were fighting for power and positions, all of them ran, you know. And in that year, that same year, hold on, caller, that same year, they had a convention in Ancillary, and they all threw the party in the lap of Peter Josie, all of them.
I know exactly what transpired.
I want St. Lucians to know because I want to write about this thing in detail. Okay, thank you very much, caller.
Caller, let me engage you before you leave. Just 1 minute. We seem to just caught up in a conversation regarding the national anthem. Would you know, outside of national events where the anthem is played, is it something in the Constitution where it said that the anthem should not be played outside of that?
No, there's nothing in the Constitution that says so.
And you're sure about that, Colin?
Yeah, I'm sure about that. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Thanks a lot.
But I know different places where people just, they have their own things locally and they just get up and first thing they do to show that they're solution, they sing the national anthem.
All right, beautiful. Thanks a lot. All right, beautiful. All right, Senator, we have come to the end of our calling program. And gentlemen, before you leave, Mr. Peter Josie, I know you have to give any last words, sir.
No, I'm always very happy to be here, Champagne. And I think I said most of what I wanted to say. Yeah. But I still have a bit to add to Rick and his whole personality, because I think honestly that all of us, including Rick, myself, could claim part of the problems of the past.
Yeah.
Because I think we could have done a better job of educating the young journalists and the young politicians. You see the point I'm trying to make? I'm not exonerating myself. And I'm saying today, people like Calix George. Are you listening to it?
I'm listening to you.
People like Calix George, not the son, you know.
Yeah. Senior.
Julian Hunt, Thomas Walcott, and people like that who have actually contested elections, have been with the Labour Party. These people should be interviewed as a group, just exchange, just like 10 hours speaking and exchanging.
Yeah.
You understand? Because these people have more history within them than you'd ever imagine. Okay, so that's a suggestion. The last time I was there, I made a suggestion that the politicians write to their moms, whether the mom is dead or alive, and wish her happy Mother's Day. But you know what, Champagne? The atmosphere is so charged. Yeah. We can't relax. Write a nice letter to your mother, boy. Let people see you can write. You understand?
Yeah. Maybe they'll say that.
Only the politicians, the 17 parliamentarians, I'm directing that too.
Yeah.
Write a nice letter, whether your mother is dead or not. Say, listen, Mom, this is coming. I have not greeted you in person, and neither can I do it now because you are beyond my reach. Okay?
Maybe they'll put it in a speech.
You are in the great beyond.
Maybe they'll put it in a speech. All right. So we want to say thank you again to our two honorable statesmen, Mr. Peter Josie and Sir Michael Chasney. Every Wednesday we did not do too much of the calls today because we stayed in the conversations up until 11:45, and I did not even realize that it was that close to 12 o'clock. And I know these two gentlemen, when they're in studio, as long as the clock strikes 12, they out of there, and I still do have a lot of calls coming in on the WhatsApp platform, but unfortunately, my guests have already left, so you will have to wait until next Wednesday at 10 o'clock. But that is interesting regarding the national anthem, and I'm going to do my researches on it all day. I had a gentleman that is very knowledgeable about the anthem, and he said that there's nowhere in the Constitution that states that you cannot play the national anthem outside of a national event. Let's take a call. A beautiful afternoon to you. Hello.
Good afternoon. You see that Labour people?
Yeah.
They are ignorant. You see, Papa Philip JP, you not see in his face and his eyes. They really have a roro in them.
Fidjio tout fâché, yo dernier. La na raison pour ça,
What can about UWP? UWP là, you pas même ça sur l'année.
Nous pas même ça si yo ka vivre.
Nous pas même ça. Moi just pas même actuellement just pas ça pendant
celle ça nous savent les jours élection venir nous ka vote. C'est ça nous savons. Mais écoutez-moi, pas que vous faites fâcher. Là où vous voulez parler, couillez nous ici et nous allons parler pour. Pas que vous pièces en les bambéto, ok? Changez-moi d'où ça. Combien de monde qui a en famille ou qui vote en État? Aïe. Eh bien, ça belle. Eh bien, make sure Dio pas que rien les bacs à Dio fait yo fâché. Depuis que tu as bail bêtise, tu as dû courir moi ici à courir ring the bell, fait nous jouer un bel t-shirt débat, ok Dodo? All right, happy Mother's Day in advance.
Thank you very much.
Avec nous tous les trois ici à dimanche pour nous point request pour nous jouer bel t-shirt, bel t-western by whole la terre.
Yes,
all right, darling.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Okay, darling. Bye-bye.
Yes. And you know, boy, I could tell you, I go around and our Flabo people, some of them, they are so happy when they see me. Every time I open my mouth, now they could see me on television, so they know me. But before that, every time I open my mouth, they are so happy because there's an avenue where they could call in and speak about their political party. And I think this is something that was lacking. Hello, good afternoon. Yes, sir.
That national anthem. You wasn't following the U.S. elections, man.
I follow everything.
But the national anthem, both sides, Democrats and Republicans playing it.
It is played everywhere. It is played on political rallies. You're right, Cole. I want to give you the bell on that. But they will tell you, don't make the comparison. Nobody will tell you, don't make the comparison between America and St. Lucia. Eh? That's what they will say.
National anthem do play like if you, as an ambassador representing your country, Olympics or whatever. They play the national anthem.
Now, for me, I'm the kind of
flag, you have to be proud of your country.
Amen.
Because you're representing your country, both male and female.
But caller, listen to this. I am certainly sure today, if you take your car and you drive around car streets, go to the various schools, and you ask 9 out of 10 children, or let's say 9 out of 20 children, to sing you the entire national anthem, they will make a lot of mistakes on the words.
But you're correct, because I remember when I was a little boy going to school, Mr. Farwell.
Oh, yeah.
In the Alfie Boy School, national anthem,
that was taught.
I'm singing and then we praying.
That was taught, my friend, and you had to know the words,
And then you had to put your hands side by side.
And we were not just singing one verse, we were singing all of the 3 verses.
Of course.
Every single verse, and you had to sing that properly, because Queen's birthday, you remember Queen's birthday? We had to be lined up at the Victoria Park at the time. It was called before the Mindo Philip Park. And every single school child of the Marshall School had to learn to sing the national anthem and God Save the Queen. All right? So that goes way back.
Respect our national pride.
Yes. What is wrong with a man playing the national anthem at 6 o'clock?
Let me tell you what I'm killing the labor rights. What happened, I'm telling you straight. Iowa, early when he gets to work about 5, 6 o'clock, he plays the national anthem.
I didn't even know that.
I didn't
even know that.
I respect Iowa on that.
I didn't know that. I don't listen to